1. Introduction. Hook. Video opens with a wide shot of a lavish, sun-drenched wedding reception. Guests in expensive clothes are laughing, champagne flutes are clinking. The camera focuses on a woman in a stunning but simple black dress, standing on the edge of the crowd, a faint smirk on her face. Narrator. I stood there, watching my sister marry the man of her dreams. The day was perfect. The flowers, the music, the laughter, it was all exactly as I had seen it in my nightmares for the past 11 years. My name is Lita, and to everyone here, I was just another anonymous guest, a stranger invited out of pity. No one knew I was the family's greatest secret, their biggest shame. No one knew I was the girl they had thrown away a decade ago. 11 years. That's how long it had been since I saw my family, since they turned their backs on me. I was just 17. I had my whole life ahead of me, or so I thought. But one lie, one single venomous whisper from my older sister stole everything from me. It wasn't just my reputation. It was my future, my innocence, my family. For years, their faces haunted me. My father's glare, my mother's cold disappointment, and my sister's triumphant smirk. They thought I was a ghost from the past. They were about to learn I was a storm they had no idea was coming. The last time I saw my family, the air didn't smell like jasmine and champagne. It smelled of cheap disinfectant and hospital hallways. That day, 11 years ago, was the day my life ended and my new one began. I was 17. I had just won the statewide scholarship to the most prestigious art school in the country. It was everything I had worked for. My parents were proud. My sister, Clara, was jealous. She saw my success as a threat, a spotlight stolen from her. She couldn't let me have it. So she crafted a lie, a simple, devastating lie. Our uncle had just passed away from a long, painful illness. Clara, who was always the responsible one, told my parents that I had broken into his house while he was in hospice, looking for his valuables. She claimed she saw me with her own eyes trying to steal his heirlooms. The lie was a masterpiece of cruelty. It played on my family's grief and their deep-seated trust in Clara. I had no defense. No one believed me. They saw me as a greedy, heartless opportunist. My father's words still echo in my mind. "Get out. You are no daughter of mine." So I left, with a single backpack and a shattered soul. The scholarship was revoked. My dream, a beautiful painting, was ripped to shreds. My family, the people I loved most, had abandoned me for a lie. But that heartbreak didn't break me. It forged me. For years, I slept on couches, worked 3 jobs, and painted every single night. Not for money, but for sanity. The anger, the pain, the betrayal, I poured it all onto the canvas. And my art, fueled by their injustice, became raw, real, and undeniable. My first big commission came from a local gallery owner who saw the pain in my work. That one commission led to another, and another. Soon, I was an artist of my own accord, running a successful art agency, signing my own checks, and building a life they never thought I deserved. The wedding invitation arrived in my inbox a month ago. It was a generic, mass-sent e-card from Clara. No personal note, just a cold, "You are cordially invited." It was an invitation to a performance, and I was going to be a part of it. I had spent weeks preparing, not for the wedding, but for the reckoning. The moment was finally here. As I walked through the opulent reception, I saw my parents. They were older, grayer. They were laughing with another couple. I approached them. My mother turned, a polite smile on her face, but it dropped as her eyes met mine. There was a flicker of confusion, a memory trying to surface. "Excuse me," she said, her voice strained. "Do I know you?" That question was a dagger. A decade of pain, dismissed as if I were a stranger. I just smiled. A sweet, innocent smile. "No, I don't think so," I lied softly. "I'm a friend of Clara's from college." I watched the relief flood her face. They bought the story. Of course they did. They wanted to forget me. This made it easy. Then Clara herself came over, looking radiant in her white gown. Her eyes widened slightly when she saw me, a tiny crack in her perfect facade. She recovered quickly. "Lita," she said, feigning surprise. Her voice was dripping with false warmth. "Oh my goodness, I didn't know you were coming. It's been so long. You look so much better." The last 3 words were a subtle jab, a reminder of the broken 17-year-old girl they had cast out. It was all I needed, the final trigger. I knew my revenge wouldn't be loud or violent. It would be quiet, precise, and it would hit them where it hurt the most. I looked at Clara, my smile never faltering. "Oh, I know," I said, a hidden meaning in my words. "I've had a lot of time to improve. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a very important conversation to get to." I turned and walked away, my gaze falling on the head table, the table where my parents, Clara, and her new husband were seated. The waiter, who was pouring them more wine, was the first target. I walked up to him, a cool confidence in my step. "Excuse me," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "I believe I have a small change for the bill at this table." The waiter looked confused. "Ma'am, the bill hasn't been finalized yet." I just smiled, a knowing glint in my eyes. "Oh, it will be. And when it is, you'll be taking it from them and giving it to me." My words hung in the air, a silent promise. My revenge had just begun. Turning point. Confrontation. The scene cuts back to the head table. A waiter, looking hesitant, approaches and hands a sleek black folder to the groom, Marcus, Clara's new husband. The celebratory chatter around the table dies down slightly as the family watches the exchange. Narrator. The moment of reckoning had arrived, and it was brought in on a silver tray. The waiter, just as I instructed, passed the bill to Marcus. Marcus, a man who saw himself as a titan of industry, opened the folder with a smug, almost dismissive air. He probably thought it was a small detail, a minor formality. But as his eyes scanned the page, his expression froze. The smugness drained from his face, replaced by a pasty white shock. He looked at the number, then looked again as if his eyes were deceiving him. He quickly slid the folder to Clara. Her smile was still brilliant, a beacon of her perfect day. But as she read the number, the light in her eyes went out. Her mouth opened slightly, but no words came out. She frantically looked for a manager, but none were in sight. My parents, sensing something was terribly wrong, leaned in. My father, with a furrowed brow, grabbed the folder. His face, which had been so full of laughter just moments ago, turned red with fury. "What is this?" he demanded, his voice a low growl. $220,000? For what? This is a mistake. You must have the wrong table." The waiter, a flicker of panic in his eyes, pointed in my direction. "I'm very sorry, sir, but that's what the lady in black said. She said she was taking care of your final bill for the night." All eyes turned to me. The laughter stopped. the music seemed to fade. I stood there, no longer a stranger, but a focal point. My father's eyes narrowed, his face contorting in a mask of confusion and rage. My mother's hand flew to her mouth. Clara looked like she was about to be sick. The fake smiles were gone, replaced by the raw, ugly truth of their shock. I started to walk towards them, each step slow and deliberate. The high heels on the marble floor made a soft, echoing tap. As I got closer, my father finally spoke. "Leda, is that you? What is the meaning of this?" Clara, however, was already in full damage control mode. "Clara, honey, what is this? Are you playing some kind of sick joke?" She tried to laugh it off, a thin, hysterical sound. "You know we can't afford something like this." And that was my opening. I stopped right at the edge of their table, looking directly at Clara. "Oh, I know you can't, Clara, but I can." My parents looked from me to the bill, their minds unable to connect the two. How could the girl they kicked out, the girl they believed to be a liar and a thief, have this kind of money? I didn't wait for them to ask. The truth was long overdue. "You remember that scholarship I won, the one you helped me lose? You thought you were taking everything from me, my future, my name, my life. But you only took away the easy path. You forced me to fight." I took a deep breath and let the first bombshell drop. That lie, Clara, that you told about me stealing from Uncle Leo, it didn't just ruin my life, it inspired it. The anger and pain I felt, I poured it all into my art. And my art, fueled by your injustice, became worth a lot of money, more than you can ever imagine. Marcus scoffed. "Art? What are you talking about? Are you trying to pay for this wedding with some finger paintings?" My smile widened. It wasn't a smile of joy, but one of pure, venomous satisfaction. Not with finger paintings, but with one painting, one single canvas, titled The Scorned Daughter, which sold last month for just under $2 million. The table erupted in gasps. Marcus's jaw went slack. My father's face went from red to white. My mother started to tremble. I wasn't done. I leaned in, my voice dropping to a low, chilling whisper only they could hear. "You see, the buyer wasn't just a patron of the arts. He was a legal advisor. He was so intrigued by the story behind the painting, the story I wrote in the artist's notes, that he offered to help me dig into my family's past. And what we found was something far more twisted than a simple lie about stealing heirlooms." Clara's eyes went wide, a flicker of genuine fear passing through them. "What are you talking about, Leda? Stop this," she hissed. "You said I tried to steal from Uncle Leo, but I have proof, Clara, proof you don't know about. A record of a bank transfer you made just days before he passed away. A transfer of a very large sum of money, from his account to yours." The wedding guests were now looking, whispering. The family's perfect facade was cracking. My father started to stand up, his eyes filled with rage and confusion. "You didn't just lie about me," I said, the final bomb about to drop. "You stole from him yourself. That was your secret, wasn't it, Clara? You were afraid he would leave it all to me. But you did more than just steal. What you don't know is that the man I had helping me is a forensic accountant. He found more than just that transfer. He found something else. And you see, my plan wasn't just to expose your lie. It was to expose your crime." I paused, letting the words sink in, watching the terror on Clara's face. The perfect wedding was a disaster. The beautiful table was a stage for a very ugly truth. But this was only the beginning. The real show, the one they would remember forever, was about to start. Here is the fourth section of the script, the climax. The crowd murmurs grew louder, turning into a stunned buzz. All eyes are on Leda, who stands before the head table holding all the power. Clara's face is a mask of pure, unadulterated fear. The truth was out, or at least a sliver of it. The lie, the theft, the money. It was all a swirling vortex of chaos. Marcus, Clara's new husband, grabbed her arm, his face a furious mix of betrayal and disbelief. "What is she talking about, Clara?" he hissed, his voice low and dangerous. "What transfer?" My father, still processing the $200,000 bill and the mention of a $2 million painting, looked at me, then at Clara. The doubt he had refused to entertain for 11 years was now staring him in the face. "Lita, what proof do you have? You were always making up stories." I didn't need to say another word. My phone was in my hand and I simply tapped a button. A small, portable speaker I had hidden near the head table came to life, and from it, a familiar voice, my Uncle Leo's, soft and raspy from his last days, filled the air. Audio clip plays from a small speaker. Uncle Leo. Recorded. "I've already finalized the will, Clara. All my money, my properties, everything goes to Lita. It's what she deserves, a future. You promised you'd make sure she got it all when I was gone. A good girl like that, you'll tell her, won't you?" The voice stopped, but the words echoed through the silent reception hall. Everyone, even the staff, was frozen. Clara's perfect veneer shattered completely. She lunged at the speaker, her eyes wild, but I was faster. I snatched it up and put it in my purse. No, that's fake. Lita is lying. She's always been a liar," Clara screamed, her voice cracking with desperation. But the damage was done. My mother was openly weeping now, her hand covering her mouth as she stared at Clara. My father looked like a ghost. He remembered that day. He remembered telling Clara to make sure everything was taken care of with Uncle Leo's affairs. I looked at Clara, my voice a hollow whisper. "You didn't just lie, Clara. You manipulated his last moments. You made him believe you were a good person. You knew the will was in my favor, so you forged a new one. You stole everything and then you framed me for trying to do what you had already done. You didn't just take a scholarship, you took an inheritance. You didn't just ruin my life, you stole my future." Marcus, his face a mask of revulsion, pushed Clara away. He said, "You lied to me," his voice flat and cold. "You told me the money for the wedding came from your inheritance, that you were the rich one." He turned to the crowd, his face now a public spectacle of humiliation. "This wedding is off. I don't know who this woman is, but she is a liar and a thief, and I will not be a part of this charade." The guests started to whisper louder, pointing at Clara. A few of them had already started to walk away. The dream wedding was a nightmare. Clara, abandoned by the very man she had tried so hard to impress, crumpled to the ground, her perfect white dress now looking like a shroud. I looked at my parents. The look in their eyes was a mixture of pain, regret, and a dawning understanding of just how badly they had wronged me. But there was no satisfaction in their heartbreak, only a profound, deep sadness. The revenge was sweet, but the cost was a family I could never get back. I reached into my bag and pulled out a sleek folder. All of the evidence, including that recording in the forged documents, has already been sent to the authorities and to a lawyer who represents my uncle's estate, I said calmly. The law will take care of the rest. With those words, I turned and walked away. My mission was complete. The revenge was a success. The table was no longer a place of joy. It was a monument to their betrayal. And as I walked away, I left them to pick up the pieces of a life they had so carefully constructed on a foundation of lies. The final act of revenge wasn't in the reveal, but in my ability to simply walk away, leaving them to the consequences.
I didn't wait to see the final act of their public humiliation. I didn't need to. The screaming, the tears, the look of utter terror in Clara's eyes, I had seen enough. The moment I got in the car, a strange calm washed over me. For years, my life had been driven by one single purpose, revenge. Now that it was over, I felt nothing. Just an immense, profound emptiness. People think revenge is about getting even, about making the other person feel the same pain they caused you, but that's a lie. The moment I exposed Clara, I didn't feel a surge of satisfaction. I felt the sharp, cold reality of what I had lost. I didn't get my family back. I had just confirmed to myself that they were never really mine to begin with. They had chosen a lie over their own daughter, and that truth hurt more than any lie they ever told me. The next few days were a blur. The news broke. The story of a disgraced bride and her family was everywhere. The forged documents, the audio recording, it was all there for the world to see. Clara was arrested. Her perfect life, the one built on my pain and our uncle's money, was gone. Marcus divorced her. The family's name, their reputation, was in ruins. They lost everything they had so selfishly clung to, but what they lost, I couldn't get back. You see, revenge is a double-edged sword. It slices the target, but it also leaves a scar on the one holding the blade. I had justice, I had money, I had a thriving career and a new, better life, but I didn't have the family I had always dreamed of. The years of emotional abuse, of being a scapegoat, of fighting just to breathe, it had left an indelible mark. I realized that my revenge wasn't for them, it was for me. It was to prove that I was worthy of more than the broken life they had wished on me. And now, for the first time in over a decade, I was free. Free from the constant need to prove myself. Free from the ghosts of my past. I took a deep breath, and it felt like a lifetime of weight had been lifted from my shoulders. The girl they had thrown away was finally ready to start living. My story wasn't about getting even. It was about moving on. So, what's the lesson here? It's simple. Never let someone else's lies define you. They can try to break you, they can steal your future, but they can't take your spirit. You have the power to rebuild, to rise from the ashes, and to find your own path, one that is yours alone. Family isn't about blood, it's about the people who see you, who support you, who believe in you even when you have nothing. It's about choosing your own future and not letting your past define who you become. I hope the story of Lita's journey resonated with you. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the best revenge is simply to succeed beyond your wildest dreams. If you liked this story, smash that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And for more incredible stories of justice and revenge, make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on.